Okay, welcome to today's class, Tuesday's class, and I think I am nearly 100% from bronchitis, so I appreciate you sticking with us on that. Didn't hear from anyone yesterday after yesterday's class about audio level, so hopefully the audio level was a little bit better in yesterday's class and going forward. Just a few things. Today is the day your first paper is due, so hopefully you're doing that. A lot of you not registering in on the message boards and the discussion board. Again, that's just going to cost you on your 50 points there at the end. If you're not participating, you don't get the points. If you don't get the points, harder to get the 404 points that you need for an A in the class. Up to you whether you want to participate in that or not, but that's part of the situation. And this Friday, we will have our first test of the semester, first of 3 tests. We'll do a little review on Thursday as well, just going over some of the things that you need to have and worry about for this week. So hopefully we'll get to all that this week. But don't forget to get your paper turned in as you're watching this right now if you haven't done it on merger, acquisition, strategic partnerships. Go ahead and get that done this week. Don't want to be late. That's worth 20 points of your total 100 points on your papers. Pretty easy here to keep track of your score. 3 100-point tests, one 100-point total on your written assignments, which will be 5 20-point assignments, and then the 50 points for your class participation. Which leads us to the first thing I want to talk about, which is the principle of past performance. And so today we're going to talk a little offline about this isn't in your book. This is just something that we'll have here on the slide, and we won't go for a whole long time today, but it's something that has to do with what's called your emotional intelligence. And part of that goes back to something, this isn't really tied in with emotional intelligence, but whenever I talk about emotional intelligence, I like to go back to this. And this is something that's a little business or life axiom called the principle of past performance. Basically, the principle of past performance tells you that your past performance is a great predictor of your future performance. I'll give you an example. Normally, I teach an 8 a.m. class Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the long semester, so spring and fall. Principle of past performance tells me that people in that class are going to miss that class because they don't like 8 o'clock class. And so if throughout your history you have not really been somebody that's gone to an 8 o'clock class, you don't like getting up in the morning, it's hard for you to get going, principle of past performance will tell me you're going to miss a lot of the classes. So that's just the nature of the beast. So like anything else, just from anything that we're looking at, the principle of past performance gives you an indicator of how something is going to happen. So if in the past, I can tell you a great example. Now this is different because um, it's an online class, but in a regular long class segment, if I have 50 students in the class, I can tell you that 10 of them are going to miss 10 or more classes. I can tell you that in a group project, generally, if you have a group of 7, almost always, principal past performance will tell you that you're going to have about 1 or 2 people that are going to do a lot of the work. We're going to have 3 or 4 kind of rope holders that will help out, and there's always going to be 1 or 2 that people are writing me an email about at the end of the semester to say, hey, so and so really wasn't very helpful on our project. Again, it's just a management tool that you can use, and again, it doesn't mean people can't change. People can change, but the principle of past performance is a great indicator to talk about what somebody's doing and how they are performing in their job. But today, excuse me, looking forward to talking about something called emotional intelligence. And we talk a lot about IQ and people's ability to work and people's ability to critically think. But a lot of times people don't think about their emotional intelligence, their EQ. And I think studies are coming out now that shows that your EQ sometimes as important as anything else, because you have to be able to communicate with people, you have to communicate with your employees, you have to communicate with clients, you have to communicate with stakeholders, and so your ability to do that is really something that's very important. A lot of times you'll still see people in our college of media communication, that are engineering majors or accounting majors, or majors that aren't typically known for their personality and their personality uh, ability to communicate. And so they come to our college to learn some of those skills that help them advance and excel in the areas that are important to them. So you have somebody that says, "Hey, I might be a really good mechanical engineer, going to build bridges, but I don't know how to talk to people." Well, I'm going to come to learn a little bit of those things. So we're going to talk a little bit today about emotional intelligence, a very important factor, and I think a lot of times when I see students, something that they lack a little bit sometimes. I'll give you a great example. I've got a intern that came in last semester, and we were watching basketball, and there was a big group of us, and she said, "Hey, you know what, Gio, we were just talking about you yesterday." And I said, "What were you saying?" And she said, You reminded us of our cool uncle." And I was like, "Oh, well, that's great." And she said, "Well, no, really, I can't really tell you what we really were saying." And I said, "Well, no, what were you really saying?" Thinking there's going to be some great compliment. And she said, "Actually, I said you reminded me of my cool grandfather." Probably not tremendously emotionally intelligent. Emotional intelligence is a type of social intelligence that affords the individual the ability to monitor his own and others' emotions. And so you want to be able to feel where you are and understand how you operate in a social circle. And a lot of that means understanding your emotions and the emotions against others, and to discriminate amongst them, use the information to guide his or her thinking and actions. So knowing when to talk, when not to talk, when to laugh, when not to laugh. Is there anything worse? Is there anything more uncomfortable when somebody has kind of a nervous laugh in a really inappropriate setting? Part of your emotional intelligence to know, pick and choose through your emotions and your possible reactions, discriminate among them. And when I say discriminate, meaning learning what goes where, how to use things, and then applying them. There are three components of your emotional intelligence, your EQ. The first one is the awareness of one's own emotions. Um, Understanding, hey, what I'm going through right now makes me emotional. Understanding right now, hey, what's happening to me now making me mad. Understanding that, hey, I'm shutting down on something like this. As a manager, especially, you have to be really aware of those things. A lot of times I find myself talking to an employee and really getting frustrated and finding myself getting mad, and I have to be aware of my emotions and work off of those. Off of that, the ability to express one's emotions appropriately. So, as a manager, you find out that, hey, not everything involves yelling, not everything involves screaming at somebody, not everything involves disciplining somebody. A lot of times it means working with somebody and saying, hey, this is what I'm thinking right now. Here's how I'm feeling. Here's the way I feel like you can do your job better. And that's a great component of your emotional intelligence. And then having the capacity to channel those emotions into the pursuit of worthwhile objectives. A lot of times I'll think about something and say, does it suit me to be this angry? Am I getting anything from being able to hold on to this anger? Sometimes you can. Sometimes you use it to fuel you in the right direction. This is why things like holding a grudge, trying to get revenge on people, are those really worthwhile objectives? A lot of times they're not. Emotional intelligence to be able to sort through those things and say, you know what, I need to be able to move on. There are major qualities of emotional intelligence, and we'll go through those. The first one is self-awareness. You hear this a lot that, hey, that may be that guy may have less self-awareness of anyone I've ever met. You get that all the time with people, right? That you see they don't seem to understand how they are being perceived by others. Self-awareness is able to recognize your own emotions and how they're affecting your thoughts and behavior, and understanding how you are interacting with people. People that have great self-awareness, I think, really have themselves ahead in the game. It's great to be self-aware, understand your situation, understand exactly at all times what I'm thinking, and it's hard to surprise you. It's hard to get you to mess up emotionally because you are very much in control of your own emotions and how they're affected. So that involves a lot of accurate self assessment, and it leads to self confidence. If you know how you're going to handle a situation and you're not caught off guard, it gives you a tremendous amount of self confidence. And so I think that helps you with your overall self awareness. So again, go back to that self awareness, recognize your own emotions and how they affect your thoughts and behavior is part of your overall emotional self awareness, allows you to accurately assess yourself, and it gives you a lot of confidence. Leads to number two, which is self management. And this allows you to control impulsive feelings and behaviors and manage your emotions in very healthy ways. And so, by that, it means that you don't always reach out in anger or sadness or emotion. Sometimes you take all those things out of the equation. How am I going to manage myself in these situations? It's like when you go for a job interview and you're very nervous, you have to control those things. Sometimes you have to control, hey, the foot tap or whatever you're going through. You have to be able to say, I'm going to manage my emotions in healthy ways. Part of the areas there, having a lot of emotional self control, having transparency, being able to adapt to a situation. A lot of times it's really good to have an achievement in mind. If you're achievement oriented, that helps your self management. And then it helps you develop some initiative and some optimism. All those part of controlling your feelings and behaviors, manage them in healthy ways. And again, it is good, I think, to have emotional self control. And I deal with people all the time that they they get emotional, they start crying, or they get mad, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But in the overall scheme of things, you want to be able to control those things. You want to be transparent and say, yes, I understand I'm emotional. I understand that I'm feeling this situation, but I need to be adaptable enough to take care of those. And if you can do those things, if you can manage yourself and you can manage uh, your achievements and where you want to be, I think it does make you more optimistic, and it makes you take on more initiative. Social awareness is just understanding the emotions, needs, and concerns of other people. Walking into a room, reading a room, understanding what people are thinking, understanding how you fit into that room, understanding that not everybody is all the time feeling the same things. Empathy. I spent my entire parenthood trying to teach my daughter empathy, understanding not everybody has the same situation you have. Not everybody has the same benefits that you have. Not everybody gets the same breaks that you do. And that for some reason, sometimes people have a different path and you need to be empathetic towards them. Part of social awareness then understands where you are in the organization. The empathy leads you to understand this is where I fit in the overall organization. And I think a lot of times if you have empathy, it makes you service oriented. You want to help others. So you go back to social awareness, you understand the emotions, needs, and concerns of other people. If you understand those things, you understand people's needs and you understand people's emotions, you want to help them. And that's what leads to, I think, making you service oriented. Relationship management. Know how to develop and maintain good relationships. Again, this is just like real life. You don't want to go through real life without friends, without family, without people you can rely on, without people that you can do things with. And your work life and your employee life is very much the same way. You want to be able to have coworkers that you can lean on, that you have managers that you can go to as mentors, that you mentor people as well, that you tell somebody, hey, I've been through something like that. That helps you influence and develop others. So as a manager, really, it's great because part of relationship management is saying, I want you to succeed behind me. I want you to be able to develop. And I think part of that all ties in. Then you go back to it's building a good team and having teamwork and collaboration. It's being able to deal with conflict. That if you have this relationship management, you can hear both sides of a story and decide, hey, how do I manage this conflict? How do I resolve this issue between these people? And all that leads to inspirational leadership. If you can do these things, and generally people that are very inspirational and great leaders really manage their relationships well. So it goes back to know how to develop and maintain good relationships. And if you go through those things, you have a great team. You are the kind of person that people want to be around. You are the kind of person that influences others. You are the kind of person that can manage conflict. You are the kind of person that inspires the people around you. And they don't even have to be your employees. They may just be your coworkers. We've all worked with people that said, hey, that's a person I'd like to be like. I like to be around that person. And that's what I call inspirational leadership. Ralph Waldo Emerson said it, we become what we think about all day long. So if you're thinking all day long, I need more money, I'm being passed over, I'm being utilized incorrectly as an employee, that's what's going to happen. You're going to get caught in that mire. We call them toxic employees, employees that all they can do is sit around and think about things that are bad for them. This isn't working for me. This is not going well. Toxic employees. Don't be a toxic employee. We all have negative emotions. We all do. We all work through our own negative junk. So one way you can enhance your emotional intelligence is reduce negative personalization. We hear this all the time. It's nothing personal. It's not personal. It's business. And almost all the time, that's true. But business is made up of people, and you're doing your work, and it's hard not to take things personally. A lot of you want to be designers or video people or editors, and I've heard it one time, I've heard it a million times from a designer. If you don't like it, just tell me, nothing personal. And guess what? They always take it personally if you don't like it. You have to reduce those things. You have to reduce that and to say it's not about me. And that allows you to reduce the fear of rejection. We'll talk about sales later on in this semester. But one of the big roadblocks to any salesperson is the fear of rejection. We call it call reluctance. They don't want to make the call because they don't want to be rejected. We have to work on that. You have to work on the fact that, so what? If you get trying to sell somebody something and they say no, it's not personal. It's just they don't want that product at that certain time. If you want a big project at work and you go to your boss and you say, I want to do this, this, and this, and your boss looks at it and she says, you know what, it just doesn't work right now. It's not negative. I mean, it might be negative. The answer might be negative, but it's not personal. The boss is making a decision based on what she thinks is the right thing to do. And you have to say, you know what, I'm taking away that fear of rejection and I'm going to keep fighting through on that. There's Bob Knight, who was a basketball coach here, one of the greatest basketball coaches of all time. But Coach Knight had a problem sometimes staying calm under pressure, but he managed to make that work for himself. Not everybody has the mental makeup of the Bob Knight. And so you have to be able to stay calm under pressure. You watch, like if you watch sports and you see a coach that with the pandemonium going on around him, he's under control. He's not panicking. He's not going nuts. He's not getting all emotional all the time. He's keeping his emotions under control. And if you can do those things, if you can stay calm under pressure, that definitely enhances your emotional intelligence. Some things you can do Stay proactive. Set consequences for not only your action, but others around you. Seek clarification. If you don't understand what somebody is telling you or how somebody is bringing something up, are you mad? Are you angry? Is this something that you're doing that is because it is personal? Seek clarification. You know what? The best way to avoid miscommunication is to communicate and say, what do you mean by this? Why are you telling me these things? And that's always great to enhance your emotional intelligence. Be assertive. It's great to be assertive, express difficult emotions, opinions when necessary. It's hard sometimes to be in a room full of 20 people and 19 people say, yeah, I want to do it this way. And you think it should be done a different way. Not saying you're right, not saying you're wrong, saying you need to be able to be assertive. You need to be able to express difficult opinions if you need to. Part of that is talk openly about it. Say, this is why I think this. This is why I think I'm right. And stand by your position. You know, you've heard that before, that if you don't believe in something strongly, you know, who else is going to? You have to believe in your inherent positions and things. And then it's okay to disagree. This isn't 1950s Russia. This is a chance to say, I disagree with you, and here's what we're going to do. We have an executive staff meeting here in athletics that we disagree with each other quite frequently. And that's part of the room. We say it's okay. It's okay to disagree. We may be wrong. We may disagree with each other, but it doesn't mean it's a negative thing. It means this is part of our structure. It's part of our opening up to each other. So that's it for today's class. A little short one, just talking about emotional intelligence. Really remember the parts about empathy, self-awareness, controlling your emotions, those things. Empathy, really very important aspect to talk about, something we'll talk a little bit more about on the test. So thanks again. Get your paper turned in. Please let me know if you have any questions or follow-up.